By now, you've heard all the Christmas songs at least once or twice. So we decided to start this week's Explore Tulsa with the King of Swing.
Then a girl in her uke.
Followed by an axe to grind.
Plus vintage axes.
Hi there, I'm Stevie Fernandez.
And I'm Trish Whitmer. We're very happy you included us as a part of your holiday celebration with this week's Explore Tulsa.
Here's a great gift idea. Dance lessons, swing dance lessons. We should do it, Trish.
Whoa, Fred Astaire. Let's start by listening in to former Tulsa World columnist and host of 89.5 FM, Swing on This.
I was the first person, for instance, to say that Garth Brooks was going to be a star in print. And he's acknowledged that, and he's just been a real sweetheart about acknowledging that. And the others that came up, they were coming up. Vince Gill was kind of coming up as when I was writing about. Not to say that I had anything to do with their stardom, but just to be there at the very beginning. I was writing about Ronnie Dunn of Brooks and Dunn when he was fronting bands like the Sidewinders and the Pickups and playing clubs in Tulsa before he ever got a record deal. So yeah, and plus I've been able to write books with people like Jim Halsey. Well, there's nobody like Jim Halsey, but been able to write a couple of books with Jim about the music business. And so I've kind of, it all kind of works together. About 1991, I went to see Billy Parker at KVOO. I was working for the Tulsa World at the time, and Billy and I were friends. And so Billy knew I loved Western swing music. He said, well, come on in, let's play some Western swing music. So he comes on we're talking and stuff, and he's playing records. About 3 records into it, he says, folks, if you'd like to hear us do this once a week, why don't you give us a call? In like 5 minutes, it's like 80 calls. And so we started doing that. I did that for about 10 years with Billy, and then the station changed and I was gone. And Rich Fisher in 2003 let me have this show. And Swing on This, we've been doing it ever since 2003 is when we started. Radio meant a lot more. It's kind of like movies. It's kind of like other things. It meant a lot more than it does to today's generation because they're just sort of bombarded with media. Radio was where you first heard the songs that you might want to buy or keep or have for your own. You know, that was your radio introduced you to those things, and I kind of maybe keep that with this show by playing stuff that maybe people haven't heard. Oh, I was a comic book fan, collector when I was growing up, and there was a big boom in the 1980s with direct sales because of the way comics were sold through comic shops, and all of this created this big boom in black and white comics. And Terry Tidwell and Terry was trying to break into the comics business, and so we started working on some stuff together, and that's when we sold the Twilight Adventure and the Miracle Squad, and had a nice run with both those titles, and I did some other stuff as well, and so did he. Plan 9 from Outer Space, that's when all that stuff was going on with Ed Wood, the Ed Wood movie. And he was sort of rediscovered, and Malibu Graphics, who published Twilight Avenger and some other stuff of ours, the people out there asked if I would do that script because they knew that I knew quite a little bit about movies, was a horror movie fan, had written a lot about horror movies. So I was very much into horror movies, and they just figured I'd be the person to do that. I think that's the best-selling comic book that I've ever done. That's still selling. I wrote a movie called Dan Turner Hollywood Detective. Actually, that was with Christopher and Linda Lewis. That was filmed here in Tulsa in 1990 with Mark Singer. He was the star. It was a 40s detective thing. He was a star of it. We had Clu Gulager, and we had Tracy Scoggins, who was on Dynasty at the time, and a bunch of really good people in it.
Oh, what the hell is that now?
What is it? What's going on?
What's going on here now, Turner?
Maisie's dead.
1983 sold my first book called Old Fears. Ron Wolf and I wrote it together, a novel, horror novel, which I tend to write when I'm writing fiction. And it was sold at auction in New York. And we were on our way. There was a bidding war, there was an auction, we were going to town. It took me 9 years to sell another book. And I realized just a couple of things through all of that. And it really boils down to one little axiom. You either wear them down or they wear you down. That's all I can tell people when people ask me for advice. If you have the stamina, the wherewithal, the passion, the energy to keep after it, eventually you're going to wear somebody down and you're going to get to do what you want to do.
John has accomplished so much throughout his career, and he's been such a great friend to Tulsa by always including us in most of his works.
So join John Wooley for Swing on This, Saturdays at 7 p.m. on KWGS 89.5 FM.
I wonder if John would consider playing any of Annie Ellicott's music.
Well, if he doesn't, we sure can. Next, when Annie joins us just ahead with more Explore Tulsa.
Take charge of your health. We are what we put into our bodies.
We approach medicine from a unique standpoint. Rather than treating only the symptoms of an illness, we work to find the root cause and promote wellness of the entire body.
Our clinic offers complete assessment and treatment programs, including hormone replacement therapy, osteopathic manipulative therapy, and genetic DNA testing. It all starts with a medical evaluation.
Contact us today to begin your path to wellness.
Sony and Video Revolution take you there. From space travel to world championships. Tomorrow's technology today. 4K smart TVs and the largest flat screens available. Now more than ever, you have the best seat in the world when history is made. Video Revolution. On the northwest corner, 71st and Lewis.
Checking with Santa, and it looks like you're all on his good list. So thanks for sticking with us for more Explore Tulsa.
Our next guest even played one of Santa's helpful elves on a shelf for a local TV commercial for us.
And now we catch up to Annie as she stops by Blue House Media to tell us about her love for jazz and what we can look forward to from the fabulous woman with many talents.
It feels like I'm in the right place. It feels like I'm realizing my dreams. What was it like growing up in my house? My dad is a bass player, a professional musician. I moved into a house with a piano when I was 7 years old, and I played around on that a lot. And I lived across the street from two girls who took piano lessons. So I got to listen to them practicing, and they would like practice the left hand over and over again, like 4 bars of the left hand, and then they'd do the right hand over and over again, just 4 bars, you know, and then this and then that. And then they'd start playing them together, and they'd start putting different things together. And I think I learned to compose that way. I was listening to KBEZ when I was like a tween, and I was really into Delilah. And right after Delilah, Big Band Saturday Night came on Saturdays. So I became acquainted with big band music by accident, just by the rollover that happened after Delilah, and I just immediately fell in love with it. I don't know why, it just was in my bones, I suppose. I've just had really positive feedback everywhere I've gone. There are definitely different styles of jazz in different parts of the country, and I do enjoy going and slipping into those different sort of subgenres of jazz, playing around with them. So I'm headed to Meow Wolf in Santa Fe in about a week. And if you're not familiar with Meow Wolf, you should definitely Google that. It's an amazing giant art installation in Santa Fe, New Mexico. And they often have musical acts come and play throughout the installation. So I'll be there performing what we're calling Dada duets with Annie Ellicott. And Dada is referencing Dadaism, which was an artistic movement that rose up in, I believe, Zurich at the turn of the 20th century. And it's heavily rooted in nonsense. So I've been having a very good time making costumes for my Dada duets this last couple of weeks. Well, I like wearing costumes for the same reason I like to sing with different musical groups, because it just brings out another aspect of my personality. I actually just did some voiceover work in Kansas City for a couple of audiobooks that will be released on Audible. The Last Warrior of Unagaya and Dungeon Lord. It's gamer fantasy, so it's incredibly fun. Yeah, I actually got to play several characters. See, Amphorus, the Spider Queen, is my favorite, so we'll see.
Dungeon Lord, come back. It's not polite to leave a queen hungry. Moonlight, and I can feel you there.
Oh man, I'd like to keep traveling. I'd like to travel even further. I'd like to go to Europe. I'd like to play my original music more, because a lot of the stuff I've done traveling so far has been jazz standards and long-form improvisation. So I'd like to go show all of my original songs to everybody. I want them to walk away having felt like they had a true emotional experience and emotional connection with another person and with a group, with the group that they were in.
What a great performer. And she ends and starts the new year touring through California with Jeff Goldblum.
To learn about each of her upcoming performances, visit AnnieEllicott.com.
Annie looks like she's the kind of lady that has some mean axe throwing skills.
Now that's an interesting observation, but there's only one way to find out for sure.
Take a trip to the Angry Axe with Alicia and Chance when Explore Tulsa returns.
Hi, Dr. Robert Zellner here. For over 20 years, I've offered affordable, convenient eye care in Tulsa. Right now, you can get one pair of glasses or contact lenses starting at just $99, or my two-pair deal for $129. Hey, and as always, the eye exam's included. Walk-ins are always welcome. Glasses are ready in about an hour. Plus, we have over 2,000 frames to choose from. We're open 7 days a week. Come see why we're voted Tulsa's best. And our drive-thru at 69th and Memorial makes pickup simple and easy. For the best eye care value in Tulsa, Dr. Robert Zellner and Associates.
Are your memories fading?
And no, not the ones stored in your little gray cells. The memories you've collected on those old VHS camcorders.
Or even that beat-up Super 8.
Video Revolution can restore your memories from any outdated format and return them to you in a DVD or Blu-ray form.
That way you can relive the past on the big screen.
We can even produce digital copies for you to share with your families or friends online.
Check us out on the northwest corner of 71st and Lewis.
Merry Explore Tulsa to you!
You mean Merry Christmas.
Well, that too, but if you didn't get what you asked for Christmas, you can always work out your frustrations with Alicia and Chance at the Angry Axe.
I know some people, they throw it so hard that, their hand slips on the axe, or they may try to throw it through the backing or something like that, and they get really frustrated about it. But I have to just say, just relax and just concentrate.
This was definitely Chance's idea. He's always loved throwing sharp objects. We have throwing knives hidden around our house instead of guns.
And so I grew up throwing knives, ninja stars, axes, just anything I could. And I grew up on a small farm. So, when I found out that people threw axes as a sport, I thought it was the coolest thing. And I remember being pretty good at throwing axes just because of how axes work. So I thought, I can do that, and I really enjoy it as well. Me and my wife were in Dallas, and we decided to go to one of the axe throwing venues. There wasn't many in the Midwest, so when we actually tried it, we went to a place that was there, and we just fell in love with it. It was the coolest thing to be able to, in the city, throw axes, go to a place and compete with different people, have some, fun and games.
So throwing sharp things has always been his thing, but he definitely put me on to how much fun it can be, and now I've kind of fell in love with it too.
They have different leagues and people compete, and based on the competition, just like bowling, they can travel around, they can compete on a national scale or even an international scale.
Whenever you have competition, you're bringing community together, so you have a group of friends you can hang out with rather than just do this on your own. So the competition part of it really makes you something you can be a part of and find your niche and find your sport, because not everyone has a sport that they can get into, especially if the physical part of it is difficult. So with axe throwing, everyone can be a part.
So we joined the World Axe Throwing League, and we're planning to open a league and kind of get one started here, so that way people can then go to Chicago or go to Canada or just different places and they can compete. Obviously you want to throw it hard enough to have some, to get the axe to the target, and then also to have it stick. But some people think that the harder they throw it, then the more likely it will stick, and that's just not the case.
The reason why it's great for women too is just because it looks like such a manly, masculine thing, and for women to be able to come and do it just as well as the guys, because it's more about technique, not about just sheer power and might.
If you throw it harder, it's gonna complete its rotation faster as it's moving faster. So if their rotation's wrong, it's not gonna stick no matter what how hard they throw it.
So I think for women, it's just another thing where we're kind of at an equal playing field and we can hang with the boys just as well as they do. We definitely want to have where people can just walk in and try it on their own or with their friends, and then we want the people who take this more seriously and do want to make it a sport, we'll have league nights for them to come and compete.
Well, before we wanted to open a place, we decided to do a couple different mobile, we took a mobile unit to Oktoberfest, we did Scottsfest, we did quite a few parties and different events just to see what people thought about it. And people love it. It's so much fun, because if you're not used to throwing axes, or if you've never thrown an axe before, it automatically looks difficult. And you think, oh no, that's dangerous, I'm not gonna be good at it, but it's fairly easy. After a couple times, people typically, they can make it stick. And when that happens, it gives you a rush for sure.
When I first started doing it, it was solely to show Chance up, just because I couldn't get a stick. So I was like, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna practice as hard as I can, because he's just naturally good at it. And what I love about it now is, now I can do it with my friends as well, and just seeing everyone else come and enjoy it just as much as we do, that's such a cool feeling.
My vision is to open it up fully to the public. People can come in, they can just have a good time throwing axes. We'll have a couple competition lanes and World Axe Throwing League lanes, and then we'll also just have some cool targets as well. So hopefully it'll just be a cool place to hang out. People can come and enjoy it, kind of like you would if you were gonna go bowling or something like that.
Hey, that axe throwing is really a lot of fun. I was sticking that sucker in there just like Paul Bunyan.
Visit angryaxe.com to find out when Alicia and Chance have their next event scheduled, or to bring their axes out to your next party.
Do the kids still refer to an axe as a guitar?
Well, the person to ask has to be Drew Wynn, the new owner of Guitar House of Tulsa, when we return with more Explore Tulsa.
Gluten-free, organic, natural, whole grain, all words used by marketers to make you believe you're buying healthy food.
Even when the product isn't necessarily good for you.
But there's an easy fix. Instead of believing what's in front of you, turn it around and read the label. Find out what's really in the product.
Our goal is to eliminate sugars, grains, and breads from our diet. Start by eliminating sugar and grains one day each week.
Each day without sugar and grains is one day closer to a healthier you.
Visit our website to find our free glycemic index food chart to learn how specific carbohydrates affect your body.
Send me some love.
Look at us. We woke up one morning with every song that ever mattered to anyone. So now what? Music's meant to be heard, out loud, where your life happens, where you dance, where you love, and where you live. When everyone has every song ever written, what matters most is how you listen.
Come hear for yourself at Video Revolution.
Hello again, and thanks for sharing your holidays with us on Explore Tulsa.
I asked Santa for the guitar from Wayne's World.
A Fender Stratocaster Olympic White 1964, that's gotta be worth thousands of dollars.
I've been very good this year, Trish, and I know just the place to find a guitar like that. The newest location of the Guitar House of Tulsa, vintage and rare.
I've been at it for a long time, so that kind of wears off. I mean, it's sad, but you know, if you find a really killer guitar that just, you know, it's got that tone, yeah, it makes you want to play it, for sure. I was actually living in Puerto Rico for about 3 years, and I had a vintage guitar business in the States that I would fly back and forth for. I was planning on moving back to the mainland and just doing my vintage business, but not even really in a retail environment. We do guitar shows, so we travel around the United States and set up at these trade shows and do business with collectors, novices, international dealers, that sort of thing. So I was going to come back and just continue down that path, and this opportunity presented itself, and I felt like, well, this might be making sense. Guitar House was started in 1964 by Cheryl Cummins and was sold in '78, I believe, to Bob Long, and he had it until 2010, and Todd Cook bought it, and then I bought it from Todd in November of '15, so it's been here a while. I mean, Leo Fender has been in Guitar House, you know. Eldon Shamblin taught there, Tommy Crook. There's a lot of history there, which is pretty much why I bought it. So Guitar House on Admiral is, we do lessons there. We have, I actually have more inventory at that store than I do here. It's just this one has my personal collection that's kind of displayed up high, and then some vintage pieces. We also have brand new Martins and Taylors here. So this is kind of more of the gallery. For me, it's, there's really a lot to it. I mean, there's so many different makes and models, and then you get into, different eras, and I'm just a nerd about it. I love all of it. I can find, well, this might not sound that great, but it looks awesome, or this might not look that great, but it sounds killer. It depends on what you're looking for. If you're looking for something that you're just getting started with, or if it's something that you're passionate about collecting something in the vintage market. It might be something that one of your musical influence played or something like that. Well, what I've tried to do here is make it a little bit of a museum, and I'm trying to acquire Tulsa-centric instruments. So like behind me in the showcase, I have 2 basses that were owned by Carl Radel, who played with Derek and the Dominoes and Eric Clapton. What do we have in there? A guitar that was owned by J.J. Cale. I have a snare drum that was Jamie Oldacre's when he was a kid. He signed for us just a couple days ago. Leon McAuliffe's 4-neck steel, played with Bob Wills. It's pretty popular one. Well, like those 50 Strats, Clapton used those, everybody used old Strats. That's what made them expensive, is because people wanted to have that. Well, like I said earlier, a lot of times it's somebody who's watched, a band that they love play they've seen this guitar on stage, or a guitar like this, and they want something that, man, if he can make that sound like that, maybe it's the guitar. And so a lot of guitars have become collectible for that reason. And so that's it seems like that's a pretty big motivator for guys who are weekend warriors that just want to have what their hero had.
Any one of those guitars would look so good sitting in my house, there on the stand, wishing someone there knew how to play it.
If you love guitars, then it's well worth the time to stop in at the new Guitar House Vintage and Rare location downtown. Learn more by looking them up on Facebook. I'm surprised you didn't try to bring your guitar, Stevie.
I left it at home in the fridge.
The fridge?
Yep, I'm getting it ready to play some cool tunes later.
Ooh, brother, stick around. There's more Explore Tulsa just ahead.
The box stores have come and gone, but Video Revolution is 35 years strong. Come see why. Video Revolution is the largest independent consumer electronics store in the region. For 35 years, we continue to have low prices and high customer service. Top brands like Sony, Samsung, LG, Yamaha, Sonos, Klipsch, and many more. Better than box stores in so many ways. Come experience the difference. The Video Revolution difference on the northwest corner of 71st and Lewis.
Why are we in spacesuits?
We are traveling to the future, where TVs have a contrast range between 400 nits of brighter whites and blacks as deep as 0.4 nits and 10-bit color. It gives us over 1 billion individual colors on the screen.
Video Revolution already has tomorrow's TVs today with the best in Sony high dynamic range TVs.
TVs with contrast and color offering more natural, true-to-life colors?
Oh yes, Video Revolution now and in the future on the northwest corner of 71st and Lewis.
Be sure and join us next week on Explore Tulsa as we wrap up 2017 with a best-of look at all the people, places, and great things we've seen over the past year.
Special thanks to John Wooley for bringing us into his KWGS studio as he prepared to bring us Western Swing on Swing on This.
Thanks, too, to Annie Ellicott for sharing her talents with us as we wish her continued success while touring the country. Also, thanks to Alicia and Chance Hawkins for introducing us to Tulsa's newest sport at the Angry Axe.
Plus, thanks to Drew Wynn for sharing his unique collection of vintage guitars at Guitar House of Tulsa Vintage and Rare.
Remember, if you miss any of the show, you can always catch us at exploretulsa.com.
As always, each week we feature the people, places, and attractions that make us proud to call Tulsa our home.
And hey, don't forget to like us on Facebook and share with us someone you think Tulsa should know more about.
Plus, remember, Explore Tulsa is brought to you by Video Revolution, located on the northwest corner of 71st Lewis.
Stop by, say hello to Ron and all the guys for all your home entertainment needs.
And Explore Tulsa is also proudly brought to you by Dr. Robert Zollner and Associates.
And with Tulsa's best eye care value with 2 locations, 3016 South Harvard and 69th and Memorial.
And we welcome our newest sponsors, Doctors Mark and Michelle Sherwood at 61st and Sheridan.
Remember, your journey to whole body healing and wellness begins with the Functional Medical Institute.
Well, that's all the time we have for you on this week's show. But we wish you and your entire family a very Merry Christmas. And we'll see you next week right here on Explore Tulsa.